Looking for a bead project? Well, we've got one here. It's the 3D ball, or a 3D bead sphere. The bead sphere is a fine three-dimensional design that looks great. With its unique qualities of a ball, it's the perfect geometric shape. A project that's like no other, it just has to be mentioned, bringing your bead creations into third dimension. An advanced looking project that's pretty fun to make, it's turbo easy and simple to create. So let's get ready for this tutorial to satisfy your creative needs. Feel free to give this video a like and enjoy this episode of TurboBeads. Here's a list of everything you need to make the 3D bead sphere. Before starting this project, I'm just letting you know that I'm using Omniflex 15-pound high-strength fishing line. It's an affordable string that's perfect for fishing, works great for pony bead projects, and many other things. With that being said, I'm just keeping you informed and just letting you know that this is a personal choice, not a sponsored video. To make the 3D bead ball, the first thing you'll need to do is to take 1 foot of fishing line and add 10 beads to that string, alternating the colors between black and white, looking just like this. Once you have all those 10 beads on that string, you're going to tie both ends of string together, bringing those beads together in a semicircle or pentagon. To ensure that you maintain the shape of a pentagon, what you'll do is you'll push those white beads toward the center, which will give it its shape. When tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that those beads stay locked into place and hold together. Once your string is tied and those beads are locked into place in the shape of a pentagon, you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we've created this bead pentagon which should look exactly like this. What you'll need to do at this point is to use the same steps to create 11 more of these pentagons in order to make the 3D ball. What you can see here is I've created 11 more pentagons, which is a total of 12 bead pentagons. All of them are the same size and have the same color schemes as well. What we'll do at this point is combine all of these pentagons together to create the 3D bead ball. So check this out. To attach all of the pentagons together, I'm starting out with 1 foot of fishing line to demonstrate, but 6 inches of string should work as well. What we'll do is we'll add 3 of these bead pentagons on the string by running that string to the point of a pentagon, adding it to that string. Continue watching as I add these bead pentagons to the string. As I said before, you're just running the string through a point of that bead pentagon. Once you have these first 3 bead pentagons on that string, you're going to tie both ends of that string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. When tying your string in a knot, be sure that your string is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Now that the string is tied, you can see where all of the bead points come together. At this point, you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. Now that we have the first 3 pentagons connected, attaching the next pentagon on these is just as simple. You'll want to take another pentagon and attach it through these 3 points. Let's run through the steps and show you how this is done. What you'll need is 6 inches of fishing line matching up both ends, looking just like this. This will make it a bit easier to use. Then you'll run each end of the strings through a point of each pentagon. Continue watching as I run the string to these bead points. When you get that string through those points, you'll match up both ends again, pulling that string all the way through. Then you'll take that bead pentagon and run the string through one point of that pentagon. Then you'll tie both ends of string together with a knot, locking all of those beads into place. When tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Now that your knot is tied and all of those beads are locked into place, you can now carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we now have the 4 bead pentagons attached together, looking just like this. We're now ready to attach another pentagon to these. So just like we've done before, you'll see that it'll fit right into place. Let's go ahead and take 6 inches of string, matching up the ends and running those ends of string through the points of the pentagon. Be sure to hold both ends of the string when pulling them through. Then, once you have that string through those pentagons, you'll take another pentagon and run one end of the string through a bead point. Watch close as I guide the string through this bead. Now that you have that pentagon on that string, you're going to tie both ends of string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. As I've said before, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Now that the knot is tied and everything locked into place, we'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 5th pentagon attached, this is what it should look like so far. You'll start to see the project taking shape. From here, we'll attach another pentagon in the next section here, which will fit right into place. Like we've done before, you'll take 6 inches of fishing line, matching up the ends and running each end of string through adjacent points as you see here. Remember to hold both ends of string when pulling that string all the way through. Then you'll take another bead pentagon and add it to the string by running one end of the string through a point of that pentagon. Once you have that string through that bead point, you'll now tie both ends of string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. Like I've said before, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Now that your string is tied and everything locked into place, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. Now that the 6th pentagon is attached, we'll need to attach the next side as well here to close in the gap. Closing in the gap is just as simple as we've done before. You'll take 6 inches of string and you're going to run that string through these 3 bead points of the pentagons. So just watch close and continue watching as I guide the string through these 3 bead points. As a quick tip, be sure to hold both ends of the string to prevent that string from slipping out of the bead point you've already run through. Be sure to take your time ensuring that you've run the string through all 3 bead pentagons through these 3 adjacent bead points. Once you have that string through all of those 3 bead points, you can tie both ends of string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. When tying your string in a knot, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure, ensuring that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Once that knot is tied, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, this is exactly what it should look like so far. We'll attach the next bead pentagon to these adjacent points, and of course, it'll fit right into place. So like we've done before, we'll take 6 inches of string and run that string to these 2 adjacent points. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. When you get that string through those beads, be sure to hold both ends, pulling that string all the way through. Then you'll take 1 bead pentagon and add it to the string by taking one end of the string, running it through a point of that pentagon. Once you have that string through that point, you can now tie both ends of string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. As I've mentioned before, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure, ensuring that everything stays locked into place and holds together. Once your knot is tied, carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we now have 7 bead pentagons attached looking just like this. We'll continue building on this project by adding on another bead pentagon, attaching it to the points of the pentagons. Once again, you'll see that it's just as simple and everything will fit right into place. Just like we've done before, you'll take 6 inches of fishing line, matching up the ends, running each end of that line through a point of the adjacent pentagons. When you have that string all the way through, you'll take another pentagon and add it to the string by taking one end of that string, running it through a point of that pentagon. Then, you can tie both ends of the string together with a knot, bringing all of those beads together. As I've said before, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure, ensuring that everything stays locked into place and holds together. When your knot is tied, you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 8 pentagon attached, we should be able to close in the gap in this section here by connecting all 3 points of the pentagons. Let's go ahead and use 6 inches of fishing line and run that string through the 3 adjacent points here of the pentagons. As I mentioned before, you want to take your time while running your string through each bead point, ensuring that you ran the string through all 3. This way, when everything's tied together, the project will be assembled correctly and look exactly as it should. As I've mentioned before, as a quick tip, be sure to hold both ends of the string to prevent that string from slipping out of the bead point that you've already run through. With this visual reference, it should be clear to see that attaching these 3 points together is as easy as it seems. Once you have that string through all 3 of those bead points, you'll tie both ends of string together with a knot to bring everything together. As I always mention, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. When your knot is tied and everything's locked into place, you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we now have 8 bead pentagons attached looking just like this. From here, we're ready to attach the next bead pentagon the same way we've done before. We'll fill in an open spot here and connect it by the points of the pentagons. Let's go ahead and run through the steps again, showing you how to attach the bead pentagon. Just like we've done before, we'll take 6 inches of string, running each end of string to these adjacent bead points. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. Once you have that string through those beads, you'll take one end of the string, adding 1 bead pentagon to that string by running it through a point. Then you can tie both ends of string together with a knot to bring everything together. As I always say, when tying your string in a knot, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays locked into place and holds together. With that knot tied, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, the pentagon is attached. We'll need to connect the next point here and close in the gap. We'll take 6 inches of string and run that string to the 3 adjacent points. It's exactly as I've shown before. Continue watching as I guide the string through these points. As I've already mentioned, be sure to take your time ensuring that you ran the string through all 3 points. Once you've ran that string through all 3 points, you can tie both ends of string together with a knot, which will bring everything together. Once your knot is tied and all of those beads are locked into place, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we now have 9 bead pentagons attached looking just like this. Of course, we're ready to add the next bead pentagon to the open spot. Let's go ahead and take 6 inches of string, running each end of string through the 2 adjacent points of the pentagons. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. Once you have that string all the way through those beads, you'll take a bead pentagon and run one end of the string through a point of that pentagon. Then you can tie both ends of string together with a knot to bring everything together. Once your knot is tied and that bead pentagon is attached, you can now carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 10th pentagon attached, we should be able to close in the gap in this section here by connecting the 3 points of the pentagon. Exactly as we've done before, taking 6 inches of string and running that string to the 3 adjacent bead points. So continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. Remember to take your time ensuring that you ran the string through all 3 bead points. Once you've ran that string through all 3 of those beads, you'll tie both ends of string together, which will close in the gap, bringing all of those beads together. Once your knot is tied and those beads are locked into place, again, carefully cut off those tied loose ends of string. Now that the 10th pentagon is attached and locked into place, let's add another pentagon to the mix in the open spot. It's like we've done before, we'll attach this pentagon to the others by connecting the points, filling in the open space fitting right into place. You'll take 6 inches of fishing line, running each end of string through these adjacent bead points. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. Once you have your string through those 2 beads, you're going to take one end of that string, adding a bead pentagon to that string by running one end of the string through a bead point. Then you're going to tie both ends of string together with a knot, which will bring all these beads together. Once that knot is tied and that bead pentagon is attached, you can then carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 11th pentagon attached, we should be able to close in the gaps in these 2 sections here by connecting the 3 adjacent bead points of the pentagons. Again, using 6 inches of fishing line, you'll run that string to these 3 adjacent bead points. Again, I'll let this step play out so that you can see that running the string through these beads is as easy as it seems. Once you've ran the string through all 3 bead points, you'll tie both ends of string together with a knot, which will bring all of these beads together. Once your knot is tied, then you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we still have another section that needs to come together, so let's go ahead and close in the gap. Using 6 inches of fishing line, we're going to run that string through the 3 adjacent bead points. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. With this visual reference, it should be clear to see the path that I've used when running the string through these beads. Once you get that string through all 3 of those bead points, you'll tie the string in the knot, closing in the gap, locking all of these beads into place. Once your string is tied with everything locked into place, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. Now that we have the 11th pentagon locked into place, this is exactly what it should look like. We now have one more spot to fill with the last remaining pentagon, which will be attached by each adjacent points of the pentagons. You'll see that adding this final pentagon is just as simple as the previous ones. Just like we've done before, we'll take 6 inches of string and run each end of the string to the adjacent points here. Continue watching as I guide the string through these beads. Then once you have that string through those beads, you're going to take the final pentagon and add it to the string by taking one end of that string and running it to the point of that pentagon. With that pentagon on that string, we can now tie both ends of that string together with a knot, which will bring everything together. Remember, be sure that your knot is tied solid and secure, ensuring that everything stays together. Now that your knot is tied and that pentagon is attached, you can carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. With the 12th and final pentagon attached, we should be able to lock everything into place, closing in the gaps in these 4 sections here by connecting the 3 adjacent points of the pentagons. As I'm sure you already know, that you'll take 6 inches of fishing line and running that string through the 3 adjacent bead points. As I've said before, take the time to ensure that you ran that string through the correct beads so that everything comes together as it should. Then once you have that string through the 3 bead points, you'll tie both ends of string together with a knot to close in that gap. Once your string is tied together with a knot that's solid and secure, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, closing in the gaps is pretty simple. From here, we'll just keep repeating the same steps as we've done before by using 6 inches of fishing line, running that string through the 3 adjacent bead points, then tying that string together with a knot that's solid and secure. Once that knot is tied, you'll carefully cut off those tied loose ends of string. Let me be sure to remind you that you'll need to fill in all 4 gaps in between the pentagons. With this quick visual review, you should understand the entire process of assembling this bead sphere or 3D bead ball. Even though it may take a number of beads and significant amount of string, the end results are well worth it. As you continue watching this project being assembled, remember you can always design this to fit your personal style. Change the color scheme to match your dreams. Feel free to leave a comment below letting me know what colors you decide to use to create your 3D bead sphere. Once you've tied the string all together, closing in all the gaps, you'll carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string and your 3D bead sphere is now complete. And there you have it, another 3D bead design that looks fine, that was fun to make. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you can create one just as great. If there's anything you would like to add, requests or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you are new or you just haven't already, don't forget that you can always subscribe if you want to be notified for more bead tutorials just like this one. Hoping you'll tune in for the next one to satisfy your creative needs. Until next time, as always, thanks for watching TurboBeads.